First up is Andrea, and yeah, the pose looks really good. Let's take a look in Maya. Whoops. Um, yeah, I think first thing I would say is while it's nice to see the pose here, it's important to make sure your main rig file has the character in the default pose. The little interface here will help you with that. With this little reset thing, and it seems like it's maybe not quite done it perfectly with the legs, resetting the pose, so I might switch this into FK and this one too, and see if that resets now. Okay, that seems a little better, but it still seems bent, and I'm not exactly sure why. Hmm. Um, so I don't know if you're, yeah, if you're, is anything keyframe? No, it doesn't seem to be. Um, oh, I guess the reset actually puts it into. Yeah, see, that looks right. And then when I reset, it puts it back into the IK mode. And these do seem zeroed out, so I don't know why it's shifting the legs. Okay, well, I'm not going to worry about it too much, but hopefully you have a version of your file where she hasn't been posed yet. So I was just going to kind of go through some of these controls and see how the character is moving. I think that's looking good. That's might be an issue where I think that it's poking through, like the one side is poking through the other side. What I would tend to try for something like this is hammer skin weights. So under rigging, skin, hammer skin weights. Nope. So then I think what we'll want to do next is have it move less with the shoulder joint. So paint, skin cluster, weights, double click. Let's just dock this here, and I'm just gonna start by unlocking everything, and let's just search for shoulder. Nope. Search for shoulder. Oh, I think I need to put like star. Nothing. Great. Maybe it's called something else. Let's see. Chest neck. Oh. Yeah, I don't know. I should have found that. Alright. Well. So, yeah, I think these points are moving too much with that shoulder. So let's see what happens if we... I would probably try scale. That'll reduce it. If we do less than a value of 1, I'll do like 0.9 and just flood. Okay, so that moved it back inside of that, and let's see how it's moving now. Okay, that solved that little problem. Alright. And then you'll want to mirror the weights across to the other side. Now these, I'm wondering what the heck is happening here, because I don't remember seeing that in your posed character. So yeah, something went a little funny, and I'm wondering if something went wrong when I and I just like to try to do hammer for skin, hammer skin weights. So that looks pretty promising. So hopefully that fixed it. And there does seem, maybe this is just some stuff is smooth and some isn't. Yeah, okay, that's all that is. That stuff poking through. All right. Hand. And let's check the fingers. I don't know why these went so berserk. So something went really wrong with those. I mean, you can still pose the fingers manually with these, but it would be nice to get this to work. I'm wondering, I don't know, somehow the orientation on those joints got messed up somewhere along the way. I don't know what or how that would have happened. I actually haven't seen that happen with this rig before, that it bends in the wrong way. See the thumb, some of the thumb joints are bending backwards and some of these finger joints. And I like using these. It's just a real quick way to get, a start to a hand pose. So I could try to take a quick look at how this thing is put together. It might be difficult to pick. So I'm just going to show input and output connections on this, and oh well, that is not. Just want to show input and output connections. Is that? That's weird. Strange. I would think that would show the outputs that were controlling the fingers. So maybe I don't know how this is set up. Alright, well, I mean, the thing is, yeah, I guess I'd have to do a little bit more work on this to figure out. We could look at, see if the connection editor shows like outgoing connections. It looks like that italicized thing, I think, means that there is outgoing connections. I'm just looking for, I honestly don't know how this is set up. Well, honestly, I think this is just, I'm not going to be able to fix this. You can live without it. I think that it has to do, I think, with your original placement when you're doing the sort of fit skeleton stuff. Although, actually, what is a bit of a concern here is that the, why is the thumb not matching that? Let me see on the other side. Yeah, look at how the thumb doesn't match to begin with, which is kind of weird. Did I just do that? Let me reopen the file. I'm going to take a look here to see if there was something I did. Let me look at the joints just right away before I do anything. Yeah, I can see right away that the joints are not lined up with the thumb, and that's going to be a little tricky. It's a bit like kind of late in the stage to deal with that. Yeah, I'm looking, that's not bound to that joint at all, so that's not affecting that. And I'm assuming, oh, that you are using the curl. Oh, yeah, see, look, it's doing something pretty crazy here. And on this one as well. So it looks like some of them are working and some of them aren't. But the thumbs are problematic. So you might want to go back to an earlier version of this. If you spent a lot of time painting weights, I'm just going to adjust this to get rid of these weird artifacts here. If you spend a lot of time painting weights, you can export the skin weight maps from one file and import them into another. I'm going to demonstrate that real quick because I think that'll be really useful to anybody. So, for example, let's say it's this one I wanted to export the weights for, so I'm just going to go to Skin, Export Weight Maps Options, and I would do a bigger map just to be safe, to make sure you have enough resolution, and export, and it's going to put in the source images of your current project, whatever you're set to. Let's say I'm set to this one. So you want to put it in those source images, and I'll call it like shirt weight map or something. And it's writing all these different files, and then let's say something gets screwed up, and you just want to put a kind of just a default skin on there, and then import the weight map. So let me just mess this up a little bit, for example. So I'll let's just really unlock. Okay, so I'm just gonna mess this up just to show you the import, so you can see that's not right. As I bend that, it's messing up this whole area now. Okay, just to show you the import. So now I go Skin, Import Weight Maps, and here's the shirt weight map, and it has a folder full of those image files. Open that, and you see it rebuild it joint by joint, and there we go. And now let's look at this, and you see it's back to normal again. So the point of that story is that if you have to take a few steps back, where you have to go back to like the fit skeleton and fix whatever weirdness is going on with these finger joints, you don't have to lose all your weight painting work if it's good. If your weight painting work is good, export the skin weight map surface by surface, then fix the rig, then bind it again, and then import the skin weight maps, and you'll be quickly back to where you were before. So yeah, I mean, overall you're doing great. I don't know why that looks a little off here. That's concerning me a bit. I'm wondering if you have a file where the characters in the kind of fully default pose without this slight offset here. And then again, these finger issues are concerning me as well, especially the thumb. I mean, I think the rest of the fingers are at least usable, but something went a little berserk with the thumbs, and that needs, so they don't work. They really don't work, and that needs some attention. So yeah, try to take a step back. Maybe hopefully you've saved various versions. Maybe you have a fit skeleton version. You can export the weight maps from this one if they're good. Looks like there was those couple little fixes I showed before, and then you can move forward. Okay, here's Ekaterina, and yeah, let's just kind of test it out a little bit, see how it's moving. Oh, we got some issues with the shirt there, the collar we can take a look at, and it's looking pretty good there. Looks pretty good. See how these fingers are doing. Oops. Ooh. That's so good. Same over here. Oh. Wonder why that side works so well and this one doesn't. Wait. Oh. That's fine. Which is what, I don't know what I just did. That's really bizarre. Oh. I guess. Oh, is it when I do the thumb is the problem? No, it's all the fingers. Okay. But it's not happening here? Is that what we're saying? Oh, it's happening a little bit here. You're getting a little bit of movement on there. So let's just focus on, well, I'll poke around and see what other areas we're gonna. so great. Oof. Okay, that looks pretty good, except for the craziness up here. So you've got a lot of little fixes on here, and I guess I'm wondering if it's worth binding again, or if we want to fix them bit by bit. So, yeah, it's just a lot of stuff. I mean, I'm just curious what we get if we do a default bind. So I'm gonna just to see what you get. I thought let's do a detach skin. Where is that? Unbind skin it's called now. Okay. Delete history, remove color joins, detach. Okay. And this is, this is just an experiment to see where we are when we first bind it. Okay, so yeah, nothing's bound. So let's use this thing. Nope, not that thing. This right here, and select the deform joints, and I'm just going to turn everything off and turn on surfaces. Shift select all the surfaces, and set smooth bind options. I'd like to try geodesic voxel. It can take a little while. Okay, let's see where we're at. Oh, already something's gone berserk. What happened there? I don't know. Yeah, that looks alright, but this is just berserk. Was that like that when I first opened the file? I can't remember. I mean, actually, it's interestingly... Oh, the thumbs are not working at all. Yeah, look how that's not lined up at all. Thumb joint. But this one's fine. Let me reopen the file. Okay, files open again. Yeah, it wasn't all messed up there. I wonder at what point that got all messed up. Let me just repeat that process again. I'm going to do skin, unbind skin. Why is it shifting it like that when I unbind the skin? It makes me think that it wasn't in the default pose. Aha. And then that's where that gets messed up too. Let me make sure it's reset before I detach it. Okay, I've reopened the file again. And let's see what happens when I just reset the pose while it's still bound. Okay, that doesn't like the reset pose. Okay, so we're not going to reset the pose. That must have been, I don't know, something must be wrong with that command in this case. So, and also, yeah. So let's see what happens when I unbind it. Does that do anything weird? Yes, it moves this off of there. So I'm not going to do it that way. Instead of unbinding it, okay, let me undo. That's good. Instead of unbinding it, I'm just going to delete history, which effectively unbinds it anyways, but it should leave it where it is. Okay, so everything's left where it is. Good. All right, now let's go back to this. Let's select the deformed joints. Let's shift select the surfaces. And let's do a geodesic voxel bind. I'm just gonna, I think you want more than 3 influences. Okay. Okay, we're back. So let's see how that default geodesic voxel bind worked on this. If it's any better than what you turned in to begin with. Or if it's, and that's not bound at all. Great. That's bound. That one is fascinating. I was reading what you wrote, and I'm concerned that something bad happened when you adjusted the joints to the fingers after part of this was already bound. I think that's making it act a little funny. So I would consider taking a few more steps back and seeing if you can do it kind of better to begin with. But let's say you don't, and let me just demonstrate fixing a few of these things on here, assuming you just kind of move forward from where you are. But I would tend to try to, you know, as I mentioned, if you saw in the last video, I demonstrated how to export and import skin weights, and I would say you should, you know, if you have good weights that you like, you could consider doing that. Although there's enough problems with these weights that maybe it's not even necessary. But so let's look at this, for example. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is, let's do this jacket and paint skin cluster. And first I'll unlock everything just to, as a starting point. Actually, I'll lock everything. Okay, so everything's locked. And then I'll want to unlock, this is the left hand, so everything having to do with the left hand, left fingers and stuff. Wrist, we might want some of, but that, all these fingers, can unlock those. And actually, let's make sure the wrist is unlocked. And so the point of this is, yeah, so the wrist is probably where we'd want any of those weights to go to, so I have that unlocked. But all of these should be zeroed out. So just a value of 0. Well, you know, we can see it happening if we bend it, and we can see the problem. I didn't try to hammer the weights, but we could try that first. But anyways, I've gotten this far down. I'll just finish what I started. So I was just going to zero out the weights of all, not the wrist, but all of those fingers. So value of 0, flood. That looks bad. Well, maybe because the wrist is affecting it too much. We might have to unlock some of these guys as well. Okay. I don't know why that's sticking out so far now. I'm just using down arrow. Huh, see, that's weird. mostly it looks better. There's still some weird weights on there. Maybe it's that, oh, maybe it's just that very first cup one that I didn't do. Yeah, I think it is. Don't know why that's having a weird effect, so might try picking those points. First I'll try to just hammer them. Hammer skin weights. Okay, that seems to have worked. Okay, so now let's bend these and okay, and then you'll want to repeat the same for this, but we can try just hammering them to begin with as well. Instead of that whole other process. That looks promising. Okay, well that pretty much fixed it anyway. So maybe the hammer. Yeah, I guess just try to use hammer first before you do anything else. It just seems to work well. Alright, now let's look at the individual fingers. Well, that's really not working right. So yeah, I mean, again, start with hammer like I just said and see if that solves the issue with these errant points. I don't know if that really did it. Whoops. I can do G just to repeat that function. Yeah, I'm not sure that's really doing it. But either way, I think that if you look at the joints, yeah, they're not moving with that at all. So let's, yeah, really get in there. Just first of all, make sure everything's locked. And then let's find the left thumb stuff. I mean, it should be bending that some. That this is the end part of that. Oh, I guess it is bending at some. So what I might do is, let's just hide the joints. So that looks okay. I feel like this should be solid white here, so I might replace with a value of 1 and just paint this really solid white for that end part of the thumb. Okay, and then this one I think should be pretty white there because it's moving entirely with that joint. And let's see what that's done so far. Okay, some of that's problematic, but the end of the finger is looking a little better. So what I would do then is for that end one, just it can be good to just select the points at the intersection to make sure you're not messing with the ones at the end there. So whoops. I'm just deselecting that one. See, this way it doesn't mess with anything outside of there, and it's really just this area that we want to smooth. And go back to paint weights and select, let's say, this one. See, this will only, and let's smooth it with flood. Maybe this one, smooth with flood a couple times, okay. And that way still getting some weirdness here, which surprises me. Let's go back to, how did that get not 100% white? I don't know how I managed to do that. Let's replace with a value of 1, because it shouldn't have been the smooth that did that, because that should have only affected that area that I had selected there. Okay, that's looking better. Alright, let's look at this. Oh yeah. Whoa. I think that try the hammer thing with haze now. G. Yeah, that sure is acting weird. This is why I kind of want to just go back to the beginning. Because trying to like surgically fix each of these kind of weird things seems a lot harder than getting like a good skin in the first place. Like a good skin from the start shouldn't result in what you're getting here. I really wouldn't expect you to get these kind of results. Yeah, I mean that one's really not worth saving, I don't think. So, I mean, you can go in and try and fix all these things one by one, but I would be inclined to take a big step backwards, and I would just do it over again, honestly. I mean, if you hopefully you have versions saved before that hand thing went berserk that you mentioned, maybe where you set up, you know, position the fit skeleton and stuff, but there's enough problems here that I would rather get a good bind to begin with and hopefully just have to fix much smaller problems than to try and really fix all these major ones. So I would take a few steps back and do it over again. Okay, next up is Natalie, and just get this out of the way. See how this guy is moving. Okay, it looks like you didn't weight the head. That is demonstrated in the video, so I mean I can redo it for you here, but I would just say go back to the video because I go over exactly how to do it on exactly this character, so for me to redo it here just seems unnecessary. And it looks like something's gone very wrong with the alignment of the hand joints. Display animation joint size, there we go. Yeah, I mean these are just way off, like really off here. So I think that you need to take a step back and do it over again and get hopefully you saved a version of your fit skeleton and get all those finger joints placed just right, because otherwise there's no way to fix it at this stage. And it looks like you didn't really do any of the skin weighting yet anyway, so it doesn't. I don't think you'll lose any work by doing that. So yeah, take a step back and get that correct, and then we can move forward from there. But you know, since you're using this default character, it's really all in the videos, so just watch the videos supplied with the course again and follow those. Okay, this is Lindsay, and let's take a look how this is going. Looks like you've got some little issues there. Some weird stuff on that. Should be pretty straightforward with this hand, so I don't know why it's going so berserk. Yeah, I might even not bind this. I might just either parent it or do parent constraints, which I can show you at least for the fingers. That's working pretty well for the body, so that's fine. I wouldn't mess with that. That's looking good. Ooh, what happened to the foot? How did the foot, oof, end up over here? That's bad. Okay, that seemed to help. When I reset the pose, let's see if it's still working. Okay, something went funny with the pole vector locators, but I just think they're still functional, so that seems alright. That's all working well. Can switch to IK for the arms. It's weird, it looks like it got a little shorter there. Maybe it was the stretch thing. Whoops. I just accidentally hit D. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so it seems like just the fingers, and I mean, what if we want to keep it a bind? You would just weight these 100% to the appropriate joint. So let me just try to fix one finger, and we can go from there. This is on reference, so it's not letting me pick it. Paint, skin cluster weights. Okay. So that would be the left index, right? That one. Yeah, and you can see right there the problem. See how there's that like black stripe on there? So this is actually pretty easy because I can just replace the value of 1 flood. And let's just kind of do that one by one for these things. So what might actually help here is if I do star, finger, star, and so again that's index finger 1, so let's flood that. Okay, and let's go to here, and we're on index finger 2 now, I think, so just flood that, and this one, flood, and this one, be the next one down, number 3, should be, right? Nothing seems to be weighted to that, but I'm pretty sure that's the right one, so let's give it a shot. And this one as well for that. Okay, let's see if I did that right. Yeah, I guess what you're getting is some little interpenetration on those spheres in between. I mean, at least we're not getting all the craziness like we are with that stuff, so we're better off. And the deal with that is that if we show the joints, are they there? Where are the joints? X-ray joints. Oh, no, they were off. I don't know why. Yeah, see how these aren't, that's the problem. They're not at all, really, the joints aren't in the right position at all. So the joints should be dead center on each of these spheres. And if it was dead center on each of those spheres, then you would get that back. I mean, in theory, we should be able to go back to fit skeleton at this point. But it just does weird stuff when you try to switch back to fit mode. Yeah, it's not really working. So I would, I would go back to your previous step in the process where you're just doing the fit skeleton and make sure this is set up where those are dead centers on those spheres, because otherwise you're never going to get it to work quite right if they're not in the middle of those spheres. So that's will be the trick on this one. But other than that, it's working well. Okay, next is Yao Nan. Nice pose. I'm gonna go ahead and reset, and yeah, that worked well. And just kind of, oh look, you built a tail, very cool. Nice. Okay, that seems to be working. And is that moving with the character? Okay, yep, it seems to be moving. Great, good job on that. Yeah, that's working well. And I'm interested to see what's the deal with those fingers and the finger controls. Not sure what's going on here. Ooh, and that's affecting that. So you're gonna want to fix. Ooh, what's it affecting something over here? Oh, that's, oh yeah, weird. So might try the hammer. Whoops, skin weights thing. Yeah, that seemed to work, and so yeah, do it from the other side, mirror and all that stuff. See how's the head rotating? Good. Clavicle, shoulder. Yeah, mostly looking really good. I think, figure out some of those hand control things. I'm wondering why I do not see the individual finger controls, and also why it seems to be... Oh, I guess there, you just want to, you can make these bigger, right? You can go into component mode and pick those verts and then scale them up so we can, so you can see that around the finger to make it easier to select, because that's all those curves are there for, to make things easier to select. Okay, so now we can see how that works. Yeah, looks like maybe you want to do some weighting. I mean, they're really hard to work with fingers because of the just their source stubby and thick. So first I would make sure all the controls are visible. Then there's some, I'd be interested to find out, I guess that's an unused finger. Oh yeah, so they're there, they're just posed, and you just need to make these bigger. I don't know why it wouldn't have reset those when I did the reset pose thing. I guess those aren't rotated at all. I'm surprised by that. Okay. So yeah, again, I would take something like this, component mode, scale it up. You might have to move it a little bit, and then, so you can easily pick and adjust this one. Okay, but overall you've done a really good job. So this is Ariana, and yeah, I mean, it's good. It's fun to experiment with this rig, and it looks like it's partly working. But It doesn't have a lot of the features. For example, fingers are kind of important, and it's just sort of a quick automatic thing here. So I would say that I wouldn't use this. I would try to see if you can get the advanced skeleton rig working instead of this. I can't even get this thing to move. I don't know what the deal is with that. Interesting. So yeah, I don't think this is quite set up right. Anyway, I think that should be probably at the end of the arm, right? I don't really use this, to be honest. So yeah, see, I would say scrap this and see if you can get advanced skeleton to work on your character. Okay, next up is Sharon, and this looks pretty good. I'm just gonna reset the pose. Okay, and let's just kind of poke around and test some of the things, see how it's moving. That looks really good. It's looking good. Yep, nice. Good. Oh, okay. Yeah, I demonstrate this in the video. Yeah, you can see that's really messed up. You just watch the video again about the weighting the head. You just want to kind of weight it 100% to that head joint, but rather than me redo it here, just look at the video on the lesson. I believe I cover that. If you can't find it, let me know and I can demo it, but rather than me redoing it, I'd rather you just watch the original because it goes over exactly that. That hand's working really well. That's a relief. Yeah, so really can't find too much wrong with it, I guess, except for that head weighting thing. So see if you can get that fixed, and besides that, it's looking really good. Next up is Elena, and let's try this one out. Seems to be working pretty well. You could probably get in there and do a little on the collar, but it's not too bad. That head seems to be working well. Yeah, overall this seems to be working pretty good. So yeah, good job on this. Looks pretty good. Nice. Yeah, good job on this one. Yeah, looking pretty good all around. Okay, next up is Shane, and for this one, I can see right away what the problem is. One boot is an instance of the other boot. You can see when you do that, and there's actually this convert thing, modify convert. Where is it? I thought there was convert instance to object somewhere in here. Instance to object, sorry. Not saying it. There it is. So that makes it its own object. And then you go back to the default pose and get it placed in there just so. Actually, it might be easier, really, even after all that, just to duplicate it. I'm just wondering, when you mirrored it, I'm guessing that you had instance turned on when you duplicated it. So where's the pivot point? Is that no? It's locked. I'm gonna unlock this one and put the pivot point in the center, D and X, and duplicate with the scale of -1 to the X. Okay, and then you can rename it and all that. But then select form joints, and I'm just doing this one surface, and selected joints, and let's try the geodesic voxel. Okay. Alright, back in business with that, and that seems to be working well. I would make this bigger. Oops. Oops. I just want to make sure only this thing is selected and not those. Yeah, I would make this bigger and tilt it, whoops, up a little bit. It's just, it can be any position or shape you want. It's just to make things easier to select. So, whoa, okay, that's not right. So, let's look at the paint weights on that. Double click. Let's dock this over here. Okay. And star head star. Okay. Yeah. So I'll just probably easier to pick the. You know, actually, it would probably be easier to just flood the whole thing to begin with. Replace the value of 1, and then work on the neck separately. So I might isolate this. Select these verts here, and let's just do star neck star. No. Capital neck, doesn't matter. Yes, it does. Flood that at 100%, and then maybe take just the top row of them. Just deselect. Oh, I want to deselect those. Okay, there we go. Okay. Oh, actually, I wanted the other ones deselected, right? I just wanted to smooth. Oh, no, I did want. I had it right before. Okay, sorry. Just these. I wanted to smooth that transition between here and here, but I guess I want these two. You know what? There's a little bit of a geometry issue too going on here, which is that I really think you need another loop around this neck. It's going to be hard to make that bend nicely, but let's just focus on this now. Smooth, flood. Yeah, I think you need decent ones too. Might just take the whole thing. Probably be alright if I just. Yeah, that looks better. One more? Maybe that's too much? Okay, let's see how it's working now. Oh, but gotta unisolate it. Okay. The eye looks hairy. So that looks crazy because of the eyes, but the head is actually fine. So, yeah, for the eyeballs, they should just be 100% to the eyes, which should be easy. Star, eye, star. No. Head. They must not have been included in the bind. For whatever reason. Let's look in the outliner. Star, eye, star. Okay. There's the surfaces. Yeah, see it. this one ends at head 1 and there's nothing below it, and then I have I right and I left. So what I would just do is select that I right and this I. Actually, I'm going to delete history off of that I, and then I'll just skin to this, and I can just say 1 influence, and I can just do closest distance, and it'll just be 100% to that. So if I were to move that join, it moves the I now. And then I can do the same thing over here. Delete history, get my other I, and I'll just use those same bind skin options, 1 influence. Okay. And let's see if the head's working now. Okay, great. So that is working now. And what else? That looks pretty good for shoulder. It's moving pretty well. So, what's going on with what happened with the foot? Why didn't that bind? I don't know. I don't know what happened. Yeah, you can see that one worked out. What a pain. Okay, so let's try mirroring skin weights from one object to the other. I'll select this one, shift select that one, skin, mirror skin weights options. We're doing it across the YZ plane, and from the negative side to the positive side, you can see this X points towards the positive side, so from negative to positive, apply, and let's try that now. Looks good. We can try like the foot roll or something. Yeah, that's working well now. Great. Okay, so yeah, did I check the fingers? Oh wow, this is interesting. Oh yeah, good job on that, getting that all working. Nice. Okay, great work on this. Okay, next up is Vincent. Looks like it's working pretty nicely. Looks good. Okay, yeah, that's working. Yeah, I mean, I'm having trouble finding anything wrong with this. This looks like a really good rig, so maybe there's a bit of a thing there where the belly's moving with the neck, so we can see if hammer works for those. I think it's a little better. Anyways, make sure, I think maybe I didn't get all the points. Let's try it again. Oh yeah, that did it. Great. Just double check this to make sure. That's working well. Okay. Yeah, really good work on this.